Chapter 169. The old master of the Lu family. 3. Mei Ying's death was nothing, but if anything were to happen to Lu Yu, Lu Rong would explode with rage and would not care about Feng Rushuang in the future ever again. Stop it! Stop it! Two loud voices sounded. The former was Feng Rushuang's while the latter was aged and wrathful. Before the earth bear could react, a powerful aura quickly rushed toward it. Stunned, the earth bear quickly stopped moving but was not capable of dodging the deadly aura. Howl! Seeing this, the snow wolf quickly stomped over, its eyes reddened with rage. Even though the earth bear was huge and bulky, it was not capable of handling such a strong aura. As the butler of the Princess Manor, if the snow wolf disregarded the safety of the earth bear, how could he command respect from the others? Just as the snow wolf rushed over to help the earth bear, a huge body as tall as a mountain quickly rushed over and stood in front of them. Stunned, the snow wolf and the earth bear flew into a great panic, their eyes widened in shock. The person standing before them looked like a god who had descended from heaven and was even taller than Mount Tai. If you dare to lay your hands on me, my father would do nothing but kill the whole Lu family. A light and clear voice sounded. The murderous aura vanished in a flash and the whole palace regained its peaceful silence. Standing rooted on the ground, the old man held his fist reluctantly in mid-air, right before Feng Ruching, and did not put down for a long while. Father, you have attained Spirit Warrior tier. Disregarding the blood streaming from her ears, Mei Ying quickly rushed to the old man. She was thrilled when she saw the old man. The Spirit Warrior tier cultivator was the most powerful warrior in the whole Lu Yun kingdom. The Lu family's foothold in the kingdom was growing increasingly stronger all through the years as Lu Yongxiu's strength had grown in leaps and bounds. He had even found a quiet and secluded place for closed-door cultivation, to attempt the attainment of Spirit Warrior tier. Even though Mei Ying did not know what Lu Yunxiao had encountered that his strength had made an enormous stride forward, she understood that as long as Lu Yunxiao had attained Spirit Warrior tier, the Lu family would scruple at nothing in Lu Yun kingdom. In Songyu mainland, the strong should rule and the weak should simply get out of the way regardless of the royal status. It was a pity that the emperor of Lu Yun kingdom was also of Spirit Warrior tier. Hence, it was not the right time for the Lu family to take over the kingdom unless Lu Yunxiao could surpass the emperor and be the top warrior of the kingdom. Even so, as Lu Yunxiao had attained Spirit Warrior tier, the emperor would not simply mess with him. After all, no one had a solid upper hand in winning the battle between two spirit warriors. For a spirit warrior, killing cultivators who had attained lower tier than the Spirit Warrior tier was nothing but killing an ant. Your Highness, these two spirit beasts attacked my grandson. Why are you stopping me? Disregarding all the ethics, Lu Yunxiao balled his hands into fists as he snarled. Lu Yunxiao was completely different from the person in the princess memory. Back then, the Lu family had always been meek and subservient to the princess in order to please her. However, Lu Yunxiao had left the kingdom 10 years ago and was nowhere to be found. Even the emperor had no idea where Lu Yunxiao was hiding. Although the princess had rarely met Lu Yunxiao back then, she could never get rid of his obsequious expression that was deeply engraved in her mind. Little did Feng Ruching expect that when she met Lu Yunxiao again, he would have actually attained Spirit Warrior tier. Chapter 170. The old master of the Lu family. 4. Feng Ruching's eyes narrowed. Back then, when Lu Yunxiao had vanished from the city all of a sudden, Feng Ruching had resorted to the emperor to look for Lu Yunxiao. Now, it turned out that the Lu family knew what had actually happened to Lu Yunxiao, but pretended to be clueless of his whereabouts so he could secretly cultivate to enhance his strength. Most importantly, the master behind this was truly something, as he was capable of keeping Lu Yunxiao out of sight from all the masters in Lu Yun kingdom. Perhaps, this had something to do with Empress Nalan's death. My spirit beasts will never hurt anyone without a reason. Both of them must have done something that had infuriated my spirit beasts. What have they done to you? Feng-Ruching turned to look at the earth bear. The earth bear pointed its claw at Lu Yu as it roared. Tears nearly fell from its eyes as if it had suffered a great deal of grief. What did the beery say? I don't get it. Feng-Ruching was caught dumbfounded and turned to look at the snow wolf. Beery was the name Feng-Ruching had assigned to the earth bear. Hence, the earth bear was the only spirit beast with a name. Howl! Howl! The snow wolf pointed its claw at Lu Yu as if telling Feng-Ruching about Lu Ye's evil doings. However, Feng-Ruching still could not get the snow wolf. Fortunately, Lu Yu quickly straightened it out. That's my spirit beast. Cousin Rishuang gave it to me. Who do you think you are to take it away from me? You devil! Bastard! Seeing that Feng-Ruching wanted to take the snow wolf away from him, Lu Yu disregarded his ears that were still bleeding and stared furiously at Feng-Ruching as he stomped his feet in rage. Feng-Rishuang flew into a great panic. Originally, she had induced Lu Yu to approach the spirit beasts as she wanted to teach Lu Yu a lesson. It turned out that Lu Yu had dug her a grave. However, Feng-Rishuang quickly felt relieved after she glanced at Lu Yunxiao. Feng-Rushuang's grandfather, Lu Yunxiao, had returned with such an almighty power. Naturally, Feng-Ruching could no longer bully her. However, seeing Lu Yunxiao had stopped moving forward, Feng-Rushuang quickly understood. The emperor loved Feng-Ruching more than himself. If anything were to happen to Feng-Ruching, the emperor would never let Lu Yunxiao off so easily. As there were only two people who had attained spirit warrior tier in Lu Yun Kingdom, Lu Yunxiao and the emperor, if a battle started between the two spirit warriors, the emperor might not be capable of defeating Lu Yunxiao. The battle between the two would only cause destruction to both sides as the emperor would fight to the death and perish together with Lu Yunxiao. Lu Yunxiao had strived extremely hard to attain his current strength and foothold. Naturally, he would not take such a risk. Moreover, he just needed a little more time to overtake the emperor. It was not a wise decision to make such a move. Hence, Lu Yunxiao dared not lay his hands on Feng-Ruching. Since when did my snow wolf belong to Feng-Rushuang? Feng-Ruching squinted at Feng-Rushuang coldly. Your Highness, Shuang'er said that the snow wolf was her spirit beast, but you had forced her to give it to you. You truly are a master in taking someone else's belongings. Meiying felt greatly relieved seeing that Lu Yunxiao had returned to the city. She forced a smile as she spoke. Meiying would have never spoken to Feng-Ruching like that before this. Now that she had a strong backing, she was no longer afraid of Feng-Ruching. There was a barricade, which was almost impossible to break through, to attain each tier along the cultivation journey. Even though the emperor owned hundreds and thousands of troops, they were simply a piece of cake in the eyes of spirit warriors. When did I say that? I don't recall ever saying that before. Hearing this, Feng-Rushuang was rendered speechless. Chapter 171, Spirit Warrior Tier. Is it something edible? Your Highness has gone too far. I know that you have always been bratty and spoilt. However, you should know how Shuang'er has treated you all this while. She has saved your life, but you have taken the spirit beast away from her. How could you bite the hand that feeds you? Lu Yunxiao's face darkened a few shades. As Lu Yunxiao had gone for closed-door cultivation for months and Feng-Ruching was only here for about 2 to 3 months, naturally, Lu Yunxiao was not aware of the things that had happened in the imperial city recently. Feng-Ruching suddenly broke into laughter. Her gaze was icy cold. Master Lu has just returned to the city. It is natural that you are unaware of the things that have happened in the past few months. Lady Lu, don't you know the things that have happened at the city's gates? Are you pretending to be ignorant? What is that all about? Meiying's face stiffened. What had actually happened in the past few months that Meiying was not aware of? If you are not aware, you can ask Feng Rishuang. She knows it very well. Feng Riching moved close to Mei Ying with a faint smile on her face. And, perhaps you are not aware of this as you have gone back to your parents' manor. Feng Riching is the one who has brought all these spirit beasts back to the city. All the people in the imperial city beheld the whole incident. Seeing Mei Ying's eyes fixed on her, Feng Rishuang said calmly. As everyone in Luyun Kingdom knew about this, Feng Rishuang would not dare to lie. Yuer, I thought you have said that Shuang'er owned this spirit beast. Hearing this, Mei Ying's face darkened and quickly turned to look at Luyu. Lost in wonder, Luyu only regained his composure after a long while. Mommy, I am not sure about that. That's what cousin Rishuang has told me. She told me that all these spirit beasts belong to her. I don't care, I want that snow wolf. If you can't get the snow wolf for me, I won't drink or eat anything. I will kill myself. Luyu raised his chin as he snorted with a decisive tone. Mei Ying was a little worried. However, as the spirit beast did not belong to Feng Rishuang, she could hardly take it with her. Yuer, why don't I buy one for you from the beast court? No way. I want this snow wolf. Luyu sat down, rolled all over the ground, refusing to let go of the snow wolf. As the Lu family and Lu Rong had showered Luyu with too much affections and that Feng Riching had always been siding him previously, Luyu had grown extremely spoilt and demanding. However, Feng Riching was no longer a fool. Luyu had not learned his lesson although Feng Riching had laid her hands on him. Mommy, if you can't get the snow wolf for me, I will ask noble consort Rong to help me. As long as noble consort Rong agrees, I will get anything I want. Hey, you! You have always been giving me everything that I wanted previously. What's wrong with you now? Who do you think you are? Burning with rage, Luyu glared at Feng Riching. It was true that if one gave a beggar money every day, once he stopped giving, not only would the beggar be ungrateful toward him, the beggar would also hold grudges against him. Your Highness, it is just a spirit beast. Yuer is considered your younger brother after all. Why don't you give the snow wolf to him as a gift? The whole Lu family would be very grateful to you. Mei Ying peeked at Lu Yunxiao. Seeing that Lu Yunxiao did not stop her, she braced herself, took a step forward, and spoke. Feng Riching's gaze was growing increasingly cold like the bitter chill of winter that sent a chill into everyone's heart. First of all, I only have a brother and sister, Nalan Dyer and Nalan Jing. I'm not going to even mention Luyu, when even Feng Rishuang has nothing to do with me. Chapter 172, Spirit Warrior Tier. Is it edible? 2. Secondly, the snow wolf is not an item or a gift. It is like my own child. Even if you could give your child away to others, I am not so cold-hearted. I will never do that. Mei Ying was infuriated by Feng Riching's words. It was just a wolf, but Feng Riching actually treated the wolf like a human. Apparently, everyone in this world would agree that human was more important. However, Feng Riching was treating the wolf as if it were her own child. She could not even differentiate humans from beasts. What kind of monster was she? Hearing Feng Riching, the snow wolf was moved to tears and cried out loudly. Feng Riching was such a good master. Not only did she disregarded her own safety and rushed to the snow wolf's rescue, but she had also treated the snow wolf as if it were her own child. The snow wolf had decided to stay by Feng Riching's side for the rest of its life and would never leave Feng Riching even when she ran out of divine spirit fruits. Your Highness, it's just a wolf. You can get another one anytime. How could you compare the wolf with my son? Mei Ying forced a smile. You are right. I shouldn't compare the snow wolf with your son, Feng Riching said apologetically. Since your Highness understand, Mei Ying smiled wryly. Before Maying could finish her words, Feng Ruking's bright voice started again. It's because the whole Lu family is not worthy of even a strand of the snow wolf's hair. I had actually compared your son with the snow wolf. I feel so sorry on its behalf. I must thank Lady Lu for reminding me. I will never compare the snow wolf with any other human beings in the future. Feng Ruqing stroked Snow Wolf's hair, her eyes filled with regrets. The Snow Wolf was so loyal and naive that Feng Ruqing could hardly find such a great wolf to guard the door, and these people actually wanted to take the Snow Wolf away from her. In their dreams. Your Highness. Mei Ying exploded in rage as she shouted. At this moment, a glimmer of light flashed in Feng Ruking's eyes. She quickly turned around, stood behind Mei Ying, and slapped her hard across her face. As Feng Ruqing was extremely fast, even Lu Yunxiao did not expect that Feng Ruqing would lay her hands on Mei Ying. Let alone the others. Who do you think you are to shout at me? Feng Ruqing snarled coldly. You, Mei Ying blushed in anger as she pointed her finger at Feng Ruqing. Don't you dare point your finger at me again. I would chop off your finger. A hint of viciousness flashed in Feng Ruking's eyes, staring resentfully at Feng Ruqing. It was only natural that Mei Ying would hold grudges against Feng Ruqing. Her father-in-law had attained Spirit Warrior tier. Why did she still have to bow her head to Feng Ruqing? However, Mei Ying put down her hand reluctantly as she was afraid that Feng Ruqing would lose her mind. Grandpa, I want this snow wolf. Lu Yu turned to look longingly at Lu Yunxiao, who had not said a word so far. Your Highness, don't you think you have crossed the line by laying your hands on my daughter-in-law in front of me? Disregarding Lu Yu, Lu Yunxiao's eyes were filled with a deep and brooding resentment. As Lu Yunxiao had attained the Spirit Warrior tier, even the Emperor would treat him as a noble guest. Simply no one would have thought that Feng Ruqing would slap Mei Ying before Lu Yunxiao. Is it wrong that I have slapped her? Who would dare to stop me even if I kill her? Feng Ruqing squinted at Lu Yunxiao. You. I am a spirit warrior. Lu Yunxiao flew into a rage. Chapter 173, Spirit Warrior Tier. Is it edible? 3. What is a spirit warrior? Can it be my snow wolf snack? Otherwise, it's useless. Feng Ruqing stretched her arms and pretended that she knew nothing about it. This lady truly has no idea what a spirit warrior is. Lu Yunxiao was dumbfounded as all his efforts went down the drain. I am in the same tier as your father. Lu Yunxiao took a deep breath and suppressed the anger burning within him. Ah! You are eyeing the throne. Lu Yunxiao was startled and rendered speechless. Even if he had thought of usurping the throne, now was not the right time to do so. Somebody please come over. Feng Ruqing shouted, her cold voice echoing in the courtyard. Not long after, a group of imperial guards rushed over from all over the palace, making a besieging formation around them. When Lu Yunxiao finally realized what was happening, the imperial guards had surrounded him. Your Highness, what do you mean? Lu Yunxiao gritted his teeth. Lu Yunxiao wants to usurp the throne. Seize him. Feng Ruking's eyes narrowed as she turned to look at the Imperial Guard leader with a bright smile on her face. Stunned, Lu Yunxiao felt as if he had been set up. Not only did he do nothing, but he also did not even lay his hand on Feng Ruqing. In the end, he was claimed to be eyeing the throne. Your Highness, when did I say that I want to wrestle power from the Emperor? Why are you framing me? Lu Yunxiao's face turned red from anxiety. I thought you said that you are the same tier as my father. Feng Ruqing squinted at Lu Yunxiao. Yes, I did. How did that have anything to do with usurping the throne? As Lu Yunxiao had attained Spirit Warrior tier, naturally, he was the same tier as the Emperor. There you are. My father is the Emperor of Luyun Kingdom. Since you said that you are in the same tier as my father, you are saying that you too are the emperor. Apparently, you have the intention to usurp the throne. Lu Yunxiao had come across many shameless scum and in fact, he was one of them. However, all of them were nothing as compared to Feng Ruqing. She truly was the most shameless of all. Seeing the imperial guards with weapons in their hands, Lu Yunxiao balled his hands into fists. The spiritual qi coming from him was like a storm. Suddenly, an old voice spoke. The voice was full of power, and its overwhelming loftiness had shaken everyone on the spot. I heard that someone wants to usurp the throne. Who dares to wrestle the power from my son-in-law? Feng Ruqing raised her head only to see an old master walking through the door. The corner of her lips subconsciously curved into a smile. Grandpa. The old master looked extremely imposing in dark blue robe with one hand behind his back. As he had survived years of battle, he was amazingly agile. His murderous aura was blood-curdling and had sent a chill down everyone's spine. However, the deadly aura vanished without a trace when the old master saw Feng Ruqing. Grandpa, why are you here? Feng Ruqing broke into a bright smile as her somber mood vanished in a flash. I heard that someone had offended my son-in-law and had bullied my granddaughter in the audience hall. How could I let this slide? Although the assembly has ended, I know that you are still in the palace, but, Master Naylan snorted as he said. Little did Master Naylan expect, someone was actually eyeing the throne. This fellow had truly disregarded him. Chapter 174. Spineless Lu Yunxiao. That's total nonsense. I do not intend to usurp the throne. I am here as someone has bullied my grandchildren. I have never thought that Her Highness would actually frame me. Master Naylan, please do me right and justice. Lu Yunxiao's face darkened a few shades as his eyes turned malicious. Master Naylan squinted. These people had forced the emperor to penalize Feng Ruqing in the audience hall. Now they wanted to mess around again. Did they truly think that Master Naylan was too old and senile? Do you right and justice? Since you have returned, you really need to do the whole Naylan family right and justice. This little rascal has always been bullying my little dyer. Don't you think you owe me an explanation? With a straight face, Master Naylan stood his ground like the warlord he was on the battlefield years ago. He was extremely cold and terrifying. Seeing this, Lu Yunxiao was lost in awe. Rumor had it that this old coot was seriously ill and could hardly walk without a crutch. Where was his crutch? Seeing Master Naylan's overwhelming momentum and loftiness when he was burning with rage, apparently, he was still as strong as he was before. Master Naylan. Yuer is just a child, even if he is messing around, what would he be capable of doing? On the contrary, Her Highness Spirit Beast has hurt Yuer. Feng Ruqing has even slapped my daughter-in-law. If you don't straighten this out today, don't blame me for the things I might do later. The spiritual qi emanating from Lu Yunxiao had quickly engulfed the whole place. Pfft! Who dares to mess with Feng Ruqing? Master Naylan snorted. Bang! Master Naylan could no longer suppress his power. Suddenly, the wind howled furiously. A sudden uncontrollable outburst of momentum destroyed the surrounding trees. The whole inner court sank into total chaos. Lu Yunxiao's body stiffened as he stared at Master Naylan with his eyes wide open. You have attained Spirit Warrior Tier 2. Lu Yunxiao asked with a sharp and trembling voice. At his age, even true warrior tier was a great challenge for Master Naylan. It was almost impossible for him to make a breakthrough with his own ability. It seemed that Master Naylan had some pleasant encounters. To make a breakthrough, Lu Yunxiao had struggled through years of hardship and hid away from the watching eyes of the people in the palace. However, Master Naylan had actually made a breakthrough so easily. That was so unfair. Breathing hard, Lu Yunxiu's face was ghastly pale as he balled his hands into fists. A powerful spiritual qi streamed out between his fingers but quickly vanished without a trace. Spirit warrior tier. Feng Rishuang rushed forward with her eyes filled with despair. As Feng Rishuang's grandpa had finally attained the spirit warrior tier, she thought that she could catch up with Feng Ruqing and the emperor would no longer look at her in disdain. However, in the blink of an eye, Master Nalan too had made a breakthrough and attained the spirit warrior tier. Why is luck on Feng Ruqing's side? Why do I always lose to her? Feng Rishuang could not resign to her fate. She wanted to trample Feng Ruqing under her feet. It was great news for the whole realm that Master Nalan had attained spirit warrior tier, but a bolt from the blue for Feng Rishuang. Seething with anger, Feng Rishuang's body shook violently. Chapter 175, Spineless Lu Yunxiao 2 Wa. Lu Yu was stunned and instantly started to bawl. He kept tugging at Lu Yunxiu's sleeve while crying out loud, "Grandpa, I want that snow wolf. I want that snow wolf." Lu Yunxiao frowned, showing that he was annoyed and impatient with this child. How could this spoiled brat become so pampered to this extent? However, despite his dissatisfaction with the child's spoiled attitude, he must maintain his Lu family descendants' pride in front of the others. Slap! When Lu Yunxiao was about to open his mouth, Feng Ruqing was already in front of Lu Yu in a swift motion. She lifted up the short boy using one hand and gave a loud slap on his bottom. "If you wail one more time, you'll be my snow wolf's meal later," the maiden threatened him with one raised brow. She maintained her arrogance while acting indifferent. "Oh whoa!" The snow wolf's eyes were shining with excitement. It had not eaten humans for a long time. Although this little human did not seem appetizing, it could still have him as a snack. Lu Yu was so terrified that he immediately stopped crying. He looked at Lu Yunxiao, who had a stern expression, then he averted his gaze to his mother, who was burning with anger and disbelief. Tears of grief filled his eyes as it almost flowed down his cheek. "Princess, don't you think your action is a bit too much?" Lu Yunxiao exclaimed with gritted teeth, and his fists were balled tightly. Feng Ruqing glanced at Lu Yunxiao and said coldly, "You want to seize my father's throne while he wants to snatch my snow wolf. Aren't the both of you the worst?" Lu Yunxiao was taken aback and tried to defend himself. Dethroning the emperor is just a baseless rumor. Regarding the spirit beast, it is just a spirit beast. If your royal highness is willing to give this spirit beast to Yuer as a gift, I am willing to promise you 3 conditions. Feng Ruqing laughed. She laughed because of Lu Yunxiu's words. Feng Ruqing turned to look at the old general. "Grandpa, are his 3 conditions worthy?" The old general stared at Lu Yunxiao coldly and answered, "Not even worth a penny." Lu Yunxiao was getting caught up in his anger, but he knew he had to suppress it. He did not dare to challenge the old general now based on his current cultivation level. Nevertheless, he had reached spirit warrior tier. Perhaps Feng Ruqing was still young and immature, but how was it possible for the old general to ignore his new cultivation level? If Lu Yun Kingdom had 3 spirit warrior tiers, it was definitely good news to His Majesty. Wasn't his promise far more valuable than the spirit beast? Definitely not worth it at all, Feng Ruqing smiled. My snow wolf is only 2 years old, but it is already a tier 2 spirit beast. I believe it will reach tier 3 in a short time. On the other hand, a 60-year-old graybeard who has just reached spirit warrior tier like you, what makes you think you are an equal match to my little wolfie? The snow wolf nodded its head aggressively. Yes, it was definitely worth more than this old man. Nobody could separate the divine spirit fruit from the snow wolf. Are you thinking of landing the first blow at me? Feng Ruqing glared at the furious Lu Yunxiao. Her smile became broader before calling out, "Guards, get my father here now." Tell him that someone intends to seize the throne and land a blow on me. Lu Yongxiu's wrinkled face became stiff. He looked more nervous when he saw that the old general was calm and composed in front of Feng Ruqing, ready to protect her from any danger. Before this, he had dared to have such an arrogant attitude because Lu Yun Kingdom had only one spirit warrior tier, Feng Tianyu. However, there was another one now. Furthermore, he was Feng Tianyu's father-in-law. This had caused a massive headache for him. After all, if two spirit warriors joined hands to fight him together, he would definitely lose to them. Misunderstanding. This is totally a misunderstanding. Lu Yunxiao wiped beads of sweat from his forehead. A sneer was plastered on his aged face. This was the first time he had acted so cowardly after he had reached the breakthrough of Spirit Warrior tier. In a blink of an eye, 10 years ago did not seem like a long while ago. That old man was fawning people by nodding and bowing to please others. Chapter 176, Punishment. Feng Ruqing squinted and smirked sinisterly. Misunderstanding. I don't think this is a misunderstanding. You have shown your intention to usurp the throne. Now, I must inform my father about it. Lu Yunxiao became speechless. He deeply regretted coming to the palace today. If he had not turned up at the palace to show off his new cultivation level, he would not have stirred up trouble for himself. Why had he provoked this group of people in the first place? Your Royal Highness, it was a misunderstanding. I swear that the Lu family has been loyal to His Majesty. In fact, my daughter is one of His Majesty's consorts. Why should I seize the throne for no reason? Your Royal Highness has totally misunderstood me, then, why have you nearly landed a blow on me just now? Feng Ruqing moved closer to Lu Yunxiao with a threatening tone. The smile plastered on Lu Yunxiao became stiff and more awkward. He admitted that he had almost landed a blow on her. However, he had not done it in the end, had he? You are the honorable princess of Lu Yun Kingdom. If I were given 100 guts, I would not even have the nerve to belittle you, Your Royal Highness. If the old general was absent, perhaps Lu Yunxiao would not have managed to control himself. Unfortunately, this old man had hit the breakthrough of the Spirit Warrior tier as well. He did not have the courage to deal with two Spirit Warriors on his own. He was not that mad yet. Lu Yunxiao, how dare you, you old chap. Master Nalan was not bothered if it was a misunderstanding or not, he was fuming with rage. He sounded stern and cold when he warned them, how dare you bully Qing'er in the palace. Today, no one from the Lu family can leave this place. Lu Yunxiao broke out in more cold sweat as the sweat ran down his back. He felt that the situation had worsened. He did not want to stay at the palace any longer. If His Majesty knew about this, he could never leave this place. Old General, I have already clarified it as a misunderstanding. If I knew how important the spirit beasts are to the princess, would not have responded this way. Lu Yunxiao insisted on claiming it as a misunderstanding. He would never admit that it was done on purpose. You claim that it is a misunderstanding. However, Lady Lu herself had said the opposite. According to her, these spirit beasts belonged to Feng Ruqing. She had even forced me to surrender my spirit beast to her. What about this matter? Do I just simply consider it as a mere misunderstanding as well? Upon hearing this, Lu Yongxiu's face darkened and he glared at Feng Ruqing and Mei Ying who standing behind him, coldly. Feng Ruqing was startled by Feng Ruqing's accusation. She looked at her in disbelief. Her face had instantly turned pale. Feng Ruqing actually knew. It was impossible for her to say something like this. Why? Why must she drag her into trouble? She was innocent in this matter. Since both of Her Royal Highness and Mei Ying have made a mistake, they have to bear the consequences. Your Royal Highness can do whatever you want to them and I definitely have no qualms about it. As usual, the Lu family would inherently prioritize their own needs above the relationship. Furthermore, Lu Rong and Feng Rishuang were useless to the extent that their existences were barely recognized at the imperial palace. Thus, he did not feel like defending them. Besides, these two women were of little value to him. If only the master had not given them chances, he would have gotten rid of them a long time ago, Grandpa. Feng Rishuang was shocked. She bit her lip desperately while holding in her tears from flowing down her cheeks. Look at Feng Ruking's grandpa. No matter how she had hurt his feelings in the past, eventually he still stuck up for her. On the contrary, look at her own grandpa, who was a far cry from Feng Ruking's. The difference was like heaven and earth. Feng Rishuang could only voice it inwardly. She did not understand this at all. Why? Why was Feng Ruqing always the fortunate one? A lot of people kept protecting and defending her while she had no one to stand up for her. She had to stand on her own 2 feet. If you say so. Feng Ruking's cold gaze was fixed on him. Her devilish grin flashed for a brief moment. Grandpa, I heard we have an insufficient sparring partner in the military camp. Is it true? Then, I will send Feng Rishuang there for a few months' training, perhaps it might improve her attitude. That had shocked Feng Rishuang terribly as her face turned pale within seconds. It was as though all blood was drained from her face. Feng Ruqing wanted to send her to the military camp. It was a place for toil and hard labor. Was it even fit for humans to stay? After all, the military camp was the Nalan family's territory. She would definitely have a hard life there. Chapter 177, Punishment 2, Feng Ruqing, Father will never allow you to do so. Feng Rishuang was trembling with shock. She was still trying to put up a weak resistance. However, she was fully aware that her attempt was basically useless. Do you think Father will listen to me, or he will listen to you instead? Feng Ruqing stroked her chin gently. She had a mocking grin plastered on her face. Let's not talk about sending you to the military camp. Father will never reject my request even if I find you a beggar husband. It was a saddening truth that made Feng Rishuang's heart shatter into pieces. It seemed like the end of the world for her. Her big eyes glittered with tears. She spoke in a shaky voice, you already knew that I won't say such things. This snow wolf was given to Feng Ruqing by her. Moreover, she had seen these spirit beasts at the city entrance. How was it possible for her to say something so foolish like this? Feng Ruqing shrugged with an innocent expression. I have no idea. I only know that your aunt won't harm you. Of course, she was aware that Feng Rishuang would not act foolishly. However, this did not mean that she did not want to send Feng Rishuang away. Who had asked Feng Rishuang to attempt to climb into the state preceptor's bed? Getting rid of her for a while would prevent her from becoming an eyesore in the imperial city. After all, within a few months. Who knew what would happen in the imperial city? Feng Rishuang was speechless. She attempted to say something for a few times but no words came out of her mouth. Finally, she realized the truth. Feng Ruqing had done this intentionally. She had been looking for an opportunity to get rid of her so she could monopolize Father's affection. Feng Ruqing averted her gaze to Mei Ying. Mei Ying immediately lowered down her head as she was having goosebumps. She did not dare to look into Feng Ruqing's eyes. Feng Ruqing smiled. However, her condescending sneer gave people a chill down their spine. Since you are bad at parenting, I do not mind helping you out. Starting today, Lu Yu is required to stay at the palace. I will let other people teach him a lesson about mannerism. Lady Lu was rather flustered. She held Lu Ye's body tightly and pleaded, Your Royal Highness, please spare Yue. She could not leave Yue alone here. It was impossible for her to do so. Feng Ruqing gave a signal glance to the snow wolf. The snow wolf immediately understood it. It howled and moved toward Meiying with its head held high in a proud posture. Meiying was too frightened to stop it from approaching. Her body was shivering in fear. "Your Royal Highness," Lu Yunxiao unconsciously blocked the snow wolf and attempted to rescue his grandson. "Yuer is innocent in this matter. After all, Lu Yu was his precious grandson. Grandson and granddaughter were treated differently." Feng Ruqing gave a contemptuous smile, then she commanded, "Guards, get my father here now. Tell him that someone is not only intending to seize the throne, but he had also hit me." Lu Yunxiao's eyes widened in shock. When did he hit her? He did not even dare to put one finger on her. Wait. Looking at the Imperial Guard was leaving, Lu Yunxiao panicked and immediately stopped him. If someone had managed to inform Feng Tianyu to come here, he would definitely fight him at all costs. He was not that foolish to deal with Feng Tianyu right now. "Your Royal Highness, Yuer is still too young," Lu Yunxiao frowned. "Exactly. Since he is still very young, he needs to be educated properly." Feng Ruqing cut him off with a sweet smile. "I will help you educate him for the Lu family's sake." Lu Yunxiao seemed perplexed and bewildered. He had been a coward all the time, that was the reason why he had trained himself outside. He was arrogant before this because he thought only Feng Tianyu alone at the Imperial Palace was on his par. Now, after a brief moment, Lu Yunxiao loosened up his frown. Perhaps Feng Ruqing would not treat Yuer badly, or else that master would not let her off the hook easily. Chapter 178, Punishment 3. Then, I am sorry to bother you with such trouble. Lady Liu's eyes widened in disbelief. Did father-in-law just give up without a fight? How could he act like a spineless coward? Yuer was the only male descendant of the Lu family now. How could he leave him alone at the palace? As for Lady Lu, Feng Ruqing glared at Meiying, who held her head low before she continued, "Punish her with 100 strokes of the cane and chase her out of the palace. She is no longer allowed to step into the palace." Lady Lu was startled upon hearing about her punishment, but she did not dare to protest. Even her father-in-law had surrendered like a coward, she could do nothing alone. As for you, Feng Ruqing turned around to face Lu Yunxiao. She would never forget that Meiying had such an overweening and conceited attitude because of Lu Yunxiao. He was the real culprit behind this incident. Lu Yunxiao, who was already sullen with grief, started to feel angry again upon hearing Feng Ruqing's words. However, he eventually suppressed his anger. "Your Royal Highness, this is a real misunderstanding. I don't care whether it is a misunderstanding or not. Today, all of you have made my spirit beasts and I horrified with this incident. We must get some psychological compensation from you. Little Wolfie, take the bear with you to Lu Yunxiao's manor later and bring back whatever precious things that you like." Lu Yunxiao was speechless. He murmured silently, "Are you the princess of Lu Yun Kingdom or a robber who claims yourself as the king of the mountain? How could she deceive and take advantage of people in such a way? You seem dissatisfied. Guards, get my father." She did not finish her sentence when Lu Yunxiao quickly cut her off with gritted teeth, "As you wish, Your Royal Highness." Damn it, Feng Ruqing. He would definitely take revenge one day. He felt indignant for what had happened. Good. Feng Ruqing finally smiled with satisfaction. She patted the snow wolf's head and reminded it, "Remember to bring back all the golds and silvers for me after you have finished eating those spirit herbs, do you hear me?" The Lu family managed to upgrade their cultivation level at a fast speed due to a secret method and also with the help of spirit herbs. Thus, if she could not empty the whole Lu manor, she would never be easily satisfied. Lu Yunxiao's old face turned pale instantly. How did she know about the hidden spirit herbs in Lu residence? Those spirit herbs were his precious treasure he had collected from the master throughout the years. He had planned to keep it for Yuer in the future. In fact, he had been secretive and careful when carrying out this matter. He was quite certain that nobody knew about it. So, how did she find out with such details? However, Lu Yunxiao breathed a sigh of relief when he thought about the hidden location of his sacred spirit herbs. It was a secluded and hidden place. Even these spirit beasts could not find the hidden treasure. In regard to other money and valuables, those were mere worldly possessions, so he was all right if they were gone. He had hidden them well in the secret location anyway. You should get lost now. Feng Ruking's facial expression turned icy cold and she scolded him with a stern voice. Lu Yunxiao held his fists together to be excused. I'll make a move now. Once he finished his words, he averted his icy and emotionless gaze to Lady Lu, who kept holding Lu Yu. Let's go. Yes. Mei Ying stood up from the ground with her jaw clenched tightly. She looked at the wailing Lu Yu and felt sorry for her son. Finally, she forced herself to turn around and follow Lu Yunxiao's footsteps. After Lu Yunxiao had left the place, Feng Ruqing ordered the imperial guards to take Feng Rushuang and Lu Yu away and dismissed the rest. There were only her and Master Nalan in the back garden. Master Nalan was still fuming with anger and panted, "Qing'er, why did you let those bastards from the Lu family go easily? Both of you have just hit the cultivation breakthrough not long ago. If there is a battle, it will definitely cause serious injury and damage to both warriors. I am not willing to see you hurt," Feng Ruqing explained. Chapter 179. Punishment for Master Nalan had reached the golden age. He should be enjoying his retired life right now instead of worrying about the battle. She would not bother him with such matters. Master Nalan understood and appreciated how Feng Ruqing cared for him. His anger subsided slowly. We still have His Majesty, don't we? If both of us join hands to fight him, how would it be possible for us to lose to that old man? Feng Ruqing's smile slowly ceased from her face as she went silent. Master Nalan was startled and realized that something was wrong. "Qing'er, did something happen?" Feng Ruqing forced a smile and muttered, "This is the actual reason I had refused to let father fight the battle. His health is not very well. I'm afraid, he is unable to fight anymore." Since her father had almost fainted that day, she took the opportunity to let Fu Qin check his health. That was how she found out about her father's current poor health condition. Feng Tianyu had been enduring the pain secretly. Even though he had the ability of the spirit warrior tier, he was unable to utilize his strength and it would affect his body. Master Nalan's heart skipped a beat. He asked anxiously, "What happened? What's wrong with His Majesty?" "Grandpa, if I'm not mistaken, father has been poisoned." Apparently, he looked exhausted due to overworking apart from excessive mourning and sadness which had caused the decline of his physical and mental health. However, the truth was, he had been poisoned. In fact, once this type of poison invaded the bone marrow, it was highly undetectable. Thus, even though Feng Ruqing had met Feng Tianyu so many times, she did not realize that he had been poisoned. If it was not because Feng Tianyu could no longer bear the pain this time, she would not even have realized it at all. What? Master Nalan was fuming with rage as he nearly fell down. He quickly held on the tree next to him to stabilize himself. He gritted his teeth in anger. Who is the person who dares to poison His Majesty? Feng Ruqing pursed her lips before continuing, "Moreover, this poison has been in his body for many years. Actually, he was supposed to drop dead that year. Fortunately, someone has managed to control his poison, so he could stay alive until today. However, the poison is not totally cleared from his body. It will invade his whole body sooner or later and weaken his health until the day he dies." Based on her father's current condition, it was evident he did not know he was poisoned, it was probably undetectable. In fact, other people had not realized that he had been poisoned, as they assumed his health was deteriorating due to excessive sadness. Then, how long can His Majesty live? Master Nayland asked the question in a trembling voice. His eyes were full of sorrow and pain. Maximum, 1 year, Feng Ruqing said it with her eyes closed. Within 1 year, if she failed to cure him, he could not be saved anymore. Once the poison invades his heart, there was nothing else she could do. 1 year, Master Nayland closed his old eyes as he was immensely saddened by the news. After a brief second, he suddenly opened his eyes with a determined glare. If I find the person who has poisoned him, I, Nayland Hoot, swear to torture him alive. Grandpa, Feng Ruqing held Master Nayland's wrinkled hand gently and assured him, believe me, I will not let him leave us. Moreover, the spirit wine will able to control the poison for now. As long we can keep the poison slightly under control, it will buy me some time to find the cure. It was such a pity that spirit wine could only lessen her father's pain from the poison but was unable to cure the result of the poison. Spirit wine. Master Nayland's eyes suddenly flashed with excitement. But then his joy was instantly subdued. He confessed sadly, the spirit wine. I have already finished it, every single drop of the wine. Chapter 180, Punishment v. Feng Ruqing patted Master Nayland's hand. It's okay. I've given my father a jar of spirit wine. This spirit wine can stop not only the spread of the toxin in his body, but it can also relieve his pain. However, you need to look after him if I'm not here in Luyun Kingdom in the future. Don't ever let him use his spiritual power. If he ever uses it, the toxin in his body will spread even faster. This is why I did not let my father fight Lu Yunxiao. His condition now doesn't allow him to fight anybody. Master Nayland was stunned. Then, he smiled bitterly. But, how long can he drink this jar of spirit wine? Grandpa, don't you worry. I have a supply of spirit wine. We can have as much as we want. Master Nayland was shocked beyond words. This spirit wine is unlimited. Isn't that too luxurious? Qinger, just be frank with me. How did you get all these spirit wines? Master Nayland was serious as he asked Feng Ruqing solemnly. Feng Ruqing did not mean to tell others about her abilities. But, she could not hide it anymore because of Feng Tianyu's illness. Actually, Grandpa must have heard of my ability to brew herbal dish. One day, I tried and changed the prescription of the herbal dish and then it became spirit wine. Master Nayland was so shocked that he remained silent. That spirit wine was brewed by Feng Ruqing. How much was Feng Ruqing concealing? Qinger, don't you ever tell anybody about your ability to brew spirit wine. Master Nayland looked even more serious and solemn now. Not even Zhangqian and Qinger. Feng Ruqing raised her eyebrows in shock. Why? I do not intend to conceal anything from my grandpa and my uncle. But, Grandpa, of course, he would not tell Feng Ruqing about the incident where Nayland Zhangqian had spread the news of me having the spirit wine. He wanted to punish Nayland Zhangqian for doing such a thing. What about Qinger? He might tell Nayland Zhangqian about this. So, he would prevent all the possibilities of him learning about this. You just listen to me. Zhangqian only cares about the Qin family now. If you let him know about this, surely the people in the Qin family would know about this too. Then, maybe the 3 great families would know about this. This is all for your own good. Master Nayland said this seriously. In fact, Nayland Zhangqian knew how to handle things properly. He spread the news because he wanted to take revenge on Master Nayland's stinginess. If he learned about Feng Ruqing's ability to brew spirit wine, he would surely keep it a secret because it mattered a lot. Who knew that Master Nalan would hold grudges like this? Consequently, Nalan Zhangqian was the last to know about this. When he learned about this and the reason behind its concealment, he nearly threw a tantrum in the Nalan family. Ah, that is why. Feng Ruqing understood and she was relieved. Luckily my uncle did not know that the divine spirit fruit in Dyer's hands was actually given by me. If he ever spread about this, I'll be in great trouble. Is the divine spirit fruit yours? It seems that I've said a lot. Master Nalan's eyes narrowed. You're the vendor we talked about? Feng Ruqing smiled slightly. Should I admit it? Qing'er, you see. I've almost finished my spirit wine. Master Nalan smiled and looked at Feng Ruqing. Shouldn't you give me a new jar of spirit wine? At first, Master Nalan thought that it was a precious jar of spirit wine, so he could not accept it. But, now that he knew of its unlimited supply, surely he would not reject it anymore. Chapter 181, Just let Fu Qin take a bite. Yes, of course. I'll give you a jar of spirit wine. If my uncle asks about the origin of the spirit wine, how would you answer him? Oh. That's easy. I'll just tell him that I bought it from a vendor. He would not be able to tell whether I'm lying or telling the truth because of his intelligence. Master Nalan was serious. It seemed that the word vendor was overused. By the way, you just give the spirit wine to His Majesty. If you have any extra spirit wine then only you give it to me. Do you understand? His Majesty's health is the most important thing. Master Nalan was anxious and he warned Feng Ruqing. Don't worry. It'll be enough. Feng Ruqing's eyes narrowed. Don't tell anybody of my father's illness, not even he himself. My father intends to die. If he knows about this, I'll surely go ahead with it. I'll not be able to save him then even if I have strong power. Qing'er, what poison is that? Master Nalan frowned. Clear heart poison. Clear heart poison. Master Nalan was stunned for a while. I have not heard of it before. Clear heart poison. If anybody is poisoned with this poison, it'll spread in the person's body in a few months and he will die. If the person has a relationship with a woman, the person will die on the spot. It seems that my father was poisoned after my mother was pregnant. Master Nalan was shocked. It seemed that he had just met Feng Ruqing for the first time and he looked at her without uttering a word. When did Qing'er become so knowledgeable? Whoever who is poisoned must live with a pure heart and without any desire, only then can he stop the spread of the poison. It could be stopped with some tactics too. But, if that person has unsettled emotions, the poison cannot be stopped. However, there's somebody who is helping my father. Even if it does spread again, it wouldn't be soon. So, my father's illness is related to my mother's death. Her death had made my father so devastated that the poison could not be stopped. If that person who is helping him was not powerful, my father would not have been able to live until now. Moreover, Feng Ruqing stopped for a while before she continued talking. No matter what you do, those suffering from this poison must not have relationships with other people. If not, hell die. Master Nalan was so shocked that his eyes widened in disbelief. Noble consort Rome was soon pregnant after the death of the Empress, a year later. That's the first woman His Majesty had had after the death of the Empress. Master Nalan was quite angry with His Majesty at that time because the Empress had just passed away. However, he soon forgave His Majesty because His Majesty did not bother about noble consort Rome and her daughter. But, who knew? Feng Ruqing was bought over by noble consort Rome. I was infuriated. Qing'er, are you sure about this? Was His Majesty poisoned when Yenna was pregnant? Are you sure His Majesty was not poisoned after noble consort Rome's pregnancy? Feng Ruching smiled softly. If my mother was not dead, the poison would not spread. If you don't believe me, you can go ahead and ask my father about the time when he started to feel discomfort in his body. Furthermore, I can easily tell the time when he was poisoned since I can tell what kind of poison was that. Feng Ruching's words made a lot of sense. Master Nalan then kept silent. He'll surely believe what my granddaughter said. It means that, Feng Rishuang, Grandpa, don't spread this. If others know about this, the people who are hiding will surely be more careful. Then, he'll not be able to investigate it anymore. There was a coldness in Feng Ruching's eyes. Moreover, he'll tell only you about this. He'll not even tell my uncle. Chapter 182. Just let Fu Qin take a bite too. Master Nalan's lips twitched. He sighed in relief. If that's the case, His Majesty did not let Yenner down. Yenner had just passed away. After a year, His Majesty committed such a mistake. Yenner was always so proud. Surely, she could not endure this kind of thing. If she got to know about this, how sad would she be? Luckily, His Majesty did not let her down. It is His Majesty's business that His Majesty does not have an empress anymore. But, I didn't know that His Majesty will never remarry in his remaining lifetime. If His Majesty meets any good and gentle woman, I do hope that His Majesty can forget the past and be happy again. His Majesty should have waited for 3 to 5 years. But, His Majesty had done this kind of thing just after a year. How can I stay calm about this? What you thought might be right. My father was tricked. Feng Ruching bit her lip and there was coldness in her eyes. Grandpa, don't worry about it first. I'll order somebody to go and investigate it. No one can hurt my father. Master Nalan opened his mouth, intending to say something, but he stopped and nodded. Okay, I'll trust your ability. Qing'er is all grown up now. She can take care of things on her own now. I'll not worry about her now. The time is late now. You can go back now. Don't let my uncle worry about you. There was no more coldness in Feng Ruching's eyes now. She smiled. Master Nalan sighed. Qing'er, don't forget to come and visit me when you're free. I will. Master Nalan left Feng Ruching reluctantly. He did not notice Feng Ruching kicking the stones near her after he left. Then, she too left the palace. There are too many spies in this palace. I have made the formation just now because I didn't want anyone eavesdropping on our conversation. Of course, I have tricked Fu Qin into teaching me this formation. She had tricked all the precious treasures in Fu Chen's hands from him. But, what was in Fu Chen's head could be used too. The grass was green and it stood still. Fu Chen hid his body among the bushes. He raised his head and looked at the shining sun in the sky. His beautiful face was all sadness. Brother Fu Qin, come and eat a little. Qing Han pulled up a handful of grass and put it in front of Fu Qin. Her eyes were big, bright, and cute. She blinked. I do not want to. Qing Han grunted. My pride tells me that I'll never eat grass even if I were to die of hunger. But, Qing Han bit her lip and sighed. If we don't have the great 3 spirit herbs, other spirit herbs are just grass to us. What she said was indeed true. Feng Ruching saw 2 beautiful creatures eating grass when she appeared. Those 2 creatures felt her presence and raised their heads. They looked at Feng Ruching sadly. There was dirt on the corners of their lips. It looked like they were 2 beggars who were hungry for so long. It was pitiful. Feng Ruching did not know what to say. Was I too cruel just because I wanted to save some money? Feng Ruching coughed a little after sensing their pitiful gazes. It was awkward. I have bought some grade 3 spirit herbs today at the spirit herbs shop, Paramount. Fu Chen was breathing hard now. There were tears in his eyes. Chapter 183. Just let Fu Chen take a bite. 3. Finally, Feng Ruqing, their guardian, had thought about them. She realized that they were hungry. It was not easy. It was indeed not easy. I can buy grade 3 spirit herbs at Paramount with my Paramount token, but there are not many grade 3 spirit herbs there. Moreover, every grade 3 spirit herb is too expensive. So, I can't give you a lot of that. What I said was the truth. The spirit herb shop does not have much of what I need. If I want more of grade 3 spirit herbs, I need to look for it myself. What was more important was that they were just too expensive. Luyun Kingdom was not wealthy. Fu Chen hugged Feng Ruqing's thigh with his face full of tears. Guardian, I'm hungry now. Just give me some of it so I can ease my hunger. All right. Feng Ruqing sighed. She needed the spirit herbs in her hand. So, she just took out a 7-leaf flower and carefully plucked a piece of leaf from its stem for Fu Chen and another for Qing Han. Fu Chen's eyes widened in shock. Only this much. Feng Ruqing saw Fu Chen's dissatisfaction. Her face darkened. If you don't want it, just give it back to me. I want it. Of course, I want it. Fu Chen was afraid that Feng Ruqing would take it back, so he quickly gobbled it up. But Fu Chen could not taste it well because there was simply too little of it. Even so, Fu Chen could feel that its strength was slowly returning to him when his body absorbed the spirit herb. How does one describe it? If his previous power was like a deep and wide ocean, this spirit leaf had just helped it recover only a ladle of water. But even a ladle of water made Fu Chen so excited. Qing Han was more graceful eating the spirit leaf. Her small mouth gently took a bite of it. She smiled when she tasted and absorbed the leaf's juice. Yummy. It's too delicious. It's been 1,000 years since I've tasted such good taste. Feng Ruqing looked at Qing Han. She was struggling. After considering for a while, she picked another leaf and gave it to Qing Han. Fu Chen was patting his belly when he saw what Feng Ruqing did. He stopped and stared. After a moment, he said angrily, Guardian, how unfair you are. Why has Qing Han gotten 2 leaves when I only got 1? Feng Ruqing looked at Fu Chen coldly. Qing Han is a girl. Gender discrimination. She's more obedient than you. Aren't I obedient too? Have you forgotten that you've tricked me into giving you all the things you have in your hands? Moreover, what did you call me on the first day we met? Oh. That's right. The herb slave. This. Qing Han called you that too and you just did not hear it. You're being unfair. Fu Chen was angry, but he looked quite cute with that wronged face. It was so cute that Feng Ruqing wanted to spank him again. Feng Ruqing soon suppressed the desire. She smiled and looked at Qing Han, who was eating happily. Qing Han ate the spirit leaf gracefully and slowly. Compared to Fu Chen, who gobbled the spirit herb just now, the sight of Qing Han eating the spirit leaf was really beautiful. Guardian, did somebody bully you today? Qing Han finished eating and she felt that her strength was slowly returning to her. She came up to Feng Ruqing. She wrapped her arms around Feng Ruqing's thigh and looked at Feng Ruqing with her 2 large eyes. When I can leave this place with Brother Fu Chen next time, I'll teach them a lesson for you. Feng Ruqing raised her eyebrows. Aren't you afraid of me? Chapter 184. Just let Fu Chen take a bite. 4. You're my guardian. You feed me. I won't be afraid of you. There There's nothing more important than food. Can you beat those people? Feng Ruqing stroked her own chin. If Fu Chen and Qin Han could beat those people, I'll think of a way to take them out of this place sooner. Qin Han was stunned for a few seconds. Her frowns were cute. She was worried. Brother Fu Chen and I have never left the Divine Herbs sect. We don't know how to fight. I have never fought before. I'm not sure whether I can beat those people. Feng Ruqing's face darkened. Then why did you tell me that? But I'm very fierce. I can bite people. They'll be afraid of me. Qin Han puffed her cheeks and said angrily. The Guardian looks down on me. The people in the Divine Herbs sect were afraid of us before. Qin Han. Feng Ruqing patted Qin Han's head. She said deliberately, you've not been outside for a very long time. The people out there are more fierce. They'll bite anybody they meet just like mad dogs. It was like Lu Yuchen and his wife. Noble consort Rong and her daughter. Is that so? Qin Han was surprised. The people nowadays are so fierce. Are they fiercer than me? Qin Han lowered her head sadly. After a while, she raised her small pink face. Then, it'll help Brother Fu Chen to go and bite them. Fu Chen was targeted without doing anything. Am I a dog? Feng Ruqing coughed a few times after seeing how Fu Chen's face darkened. She stopped Qin Han and turned to look at Fu Chen. Do you have any way to cure my father's poisoning? Fu Chen looked at Feng Ruqing. Did you memorize the content of the Book of Spirit Herbs which I have given you? You go back and look it over. There's a way inside it. Feng Ruqing's eyebrows twitched just a bit. Those ways require grade 4 spirit herbs, and the herbs needed are quite rare among the grade 4 spirit herbs. I have asked Paramount on my way back just now. They too do not have those herbs. Then, why don't you make a breakthrough? Fu Chen looked at Feng Ruqing, just like how he would look at an idiot. You can sow them on your own when you make a breakthrough. Feng Ruqing took a deep breath. What had she asked was useless. She must make the breakthrough to the Spirit Warrior tier in a year if she wanted to harvest grade 4 spirit herbs. Moreover, the poison in Feng Tianyu's body could not spread anymore in this period. Guardian, you know that your father's body is unhealthy. Why did you use him to threaten Lu Yunxiao today? Fu Chen was quite angry when he thought of this. Don't you know that it's very dangerous? So what? Feng Ruqing seemed domineering. When have I admitted that I'm weak? I can't lose my ground no matter what the condition of my father's body is. You won't understand this. Fu Chen was stunned. He said, weren't you afraid that Lu Yunxiao would pick a fight? No worries. That coward gave up soon when I frightened him just a bit. Suddenly, Fu Chen looked at Feng Ruqing like it was the first time he had met her. Guardian, Qin Han wanted to say something, but Feng Ruqing picked her up and patted her soft and squishy buttocks. Just call me Mom. Qin Han nodded her head obediently. Then, Mom, is that handsome and beautiful man the father of Brother Fu Chen and me? Qin Han's taste is really something. If you meet him in the future, just call him Dad. Chapter 185, The Spirit Beasts who were digging the earth at Fu Chen, come here. Feng Ruqing raised her hands and pulled Fu Chen's small body into her embrace. Fu Chen's head rested against Feng Ruqing's chest. It was soft and still. It made Fu Chen's shameful tears roll down his cheeks. Let go of me. Fu Chen struggled vigorously. But it was useless. So, Fu Chen allowed Feng Ruqing to hug him. From now on, both of you are the children of the State Preceptor and me. Feng Ruqing hugged Fu Chen in one hand, and she smiled brightly like the sun in the sky. So, don't you hide any treasure from me if you have any more treasure. If I learn that you hide something from me, I'll disown you. Just, not sure what kind of reaction the state preceptor would have if he knows of it. Fu Chen's white face froze. He took a deep breath before he voiced out his anger. Damn it. Not only you took all my treasures, but you have also made use of the things in my head. What more do you want? By the way, what's the usage of the sword you gave me before? Why can't I use it? Feng Ruqing lowered her eyes and looked at Fu Qin, who was in her embrace. That sword was taken from Fu Qin with much difficulty. But, I do not know how to use it even after I have investigated it for a few days. I cannot even draw it out. Fu Qin shook his head. I'm not sure. I took it from the Divine Herbs sect. It was made by someone. It looked so delicious, so I took it and hid it for myself. But how would I know how to use it? I'm not human. By the way, I still did not know what kinds of species these two creatures are. They're not human or spirit beasts. What's more important is they need spirit herbs to recover their spiritual power. Feng Ruqing squinted. Who is that person? The Ninth Emperor. There was a sense of worship in Fu Chen's eyes. He was the ancestor of the Divine Herbs sect, and he was also a legendary icon for 1,000 years now. Feng Ruqing touched her head. I've read through the history of Xiangyu mainland these past few days. But, I never heard of a person called the Ninth Emperor. Impossible. Fu Chen's expression changed. He said angrily, this mainland was saved by the Ninth Emperor before. All the living things here were all saved by him. Why is there no record of him in history? All the living things would die if it were not for the Ninth Emperor. This mainland would not even exist. He was the legend of those days. He was also an unforgettable hero. But, who was the culprit? Who had removed the Ninth Emperor's existence? After hearing what you have said, the Ninth Emperor seemed to be a very powerful person. Feng Ruqing stroked her chin. He was the ancestor of the Divine Herbs sect. It proved that he was indeed strong and powerful. The Ninth Emperor. He founded the Divine Herbs sect, and he had even created the prescription of many spirit herbs dishes. The spiritual power was strong in those days, even if it was not as strong as the condition now. Even so, the spirit herbs were rare and special still. If it were not the Ninth Emperor's efforts, there would not be any prescription of spirit herbs dishes. The Ninth Emperor was still regarded as a god when the Divine Herbs sect encountered a great change in that era. But, after 1,000 years, people have now forgotten about him. How could this not infuriate people? The Ninth Emperor seemed to be very powerful. How come he's dead? If the Ninth Emperor were not dead, the Divine Herbs sect would not have been destroyed then. Chapter 186, The Spirit Beasts Who Were Digging the Earth. Fu Chen's eyes darkened, as he lowered his eyes. He had lost all his energy. Mom. Qing Han raised her small pink face. The Ninth Emperor did not die. He disappeared. Disappeared? Yes. Qing Han stroked her small head. Actually, I do not remember him very well. We were quite young at that time. We just remembered that he had always watered us and talked to us every day. But, one day, the Ninth Emperor came into the Garden of the Spirit Herbs and told us that his lover had gotten into trouble. He needed to leave the Divine Herbs sect. He even ordered the sect masters of every generation to take good care of us. Then, he left and never came back. Their impression of the Ninth Emperor was only that much. They were too young at that time, so they lacked spiritual wisdom. Thus, they could not remember his face and his spiritual qi. They could only hear what he had said to them every day. This, Feng Ruqing stroked her chin. Was the ninth emperor a male or a female? I don't know. Nobody knew the ninth emperor's gender. Nobody knew how he or she looked either. I still have one last question. Feng Ruqing smiled and looked at the creatures in her hands. Are the two of you spirit herbs? Fu Chen roared. He was so shocked that he escaped from Feng Ruqing's embrace. He found that Qing Han was about to say something. He quickly covered her mouth and did not let her keep talking. Qing Han, don't you talk nonsense. We're not spirit herbs. How are we spirit herbs? Qing Han blinked and nodded. Fu Chen sighed in relief, then removed his hands from her mouth. Brother Fu Chen is right. If Mom knows that we're spirit herbs, she would totally eat us. Fu Chen could not utter a word. Was this girl stupid? Lack of spiritual wisdom. Qing Han looked at Fu Chen, whose face had darkened with grief. Brother Fu Chen, what have I said wrongly? It's you who had asked me to say this. I did not say anything wrong. I just want to throw this girl out. Qing Han is right, Feng Ruqing consoled Qing Han. She smiled even wider. You've said what Fu Chen had taught you to say. You've done nothing wrong. But Brother Fu Chen seems to be angry. Don't bother about him. He's always angry. He'll be fine after a while. Okay, I'll listen to Mom. Qing Han hugged Feng Ruqing's neck with her two little hands. Qing Han giggled aloud. Her laugh was even clearer than the sound of the bell. It was like there was some kind of magic in it. A spirit herb who can bite people and laugh like that. What kind of species is this young girl? Oh. Spirit herbs also can transform into people. Feng Ruqing realized now that the creatures in front of her were two spirit herbs which had transformed into humans. Humph. Fu Chen grunted unhappily. If Qing Han is not in Mom's embrace and if I can beat her without any feelings, I'd totally grab her and beat her up. I've hidden my identity for so long, and now she has exposed it with just one sentence. Feng Ruqing hugged these two creatures and enjoyed the happiness of the family union. On the other hand, the Lu family had fallen into a pit of great fear. The old master of Lu family, Lu Yunxiao, had returned. This was indeed a good event, but he had brought along a group of spirit beasts with him. Chapter 187, The Spirit Beasts Who Were Digging the Earth. These spirit beasts in the Lu family fought against one another when they quarreled. They would even destroy the maids' undergarments. They were like robbers in the village, and everyone feared their presence. Father. The current master of the Lu family, Lu Fei, seemed worried when he saw how aggressive the spirit beasts were. Do you really allow the spirit beasts to roam freely? My father's strength would be able to control the spirit beasts if he chose to do so. How can we do that? Lu Yunxiao sneered. Our Lu family would not be this pathetic if your son and my daughter-in-law did not cause trouble. Lu Fei was stunned, and he clenched his fists tightly. Father, you've made a breakthrough to Spirit Warrior tier. Why are you afraid of His Majesty? Do you really think that I'm afraid of him alone? Lu Yunxiao laughed coldly. Master Nalan has broken through to Spirit Warrior Tier 2. All of you did not even hear about that. I was embarrassed at the palace. Lu Fei was stunned. Has Master Nalan made a breakthrough to Spirit Warrior Tier? How did he make a breakthrough? Meanwhile, a quick shadow ran in from the entrance. Lu Yunxiao looked at the guard coldly. He said icily, "Why are you so nervous? Did the spirit beasts take some treasure again?" No. It's not. The guard kneeled down on one knee. The guard looked anxious. Old Master, the master of the Qin family, Qin Feiyang has made a breakthrough to Spirit Warrior tier. The Qin family is currently giving out invitation cards to guests for a meal. Our Lu family is invited too. Boom! This news was like a great blow to Lu Yunxiao. It shocked him very much. Qin Feiyang has also attained Spirit Warrior Tier 2. What has happened to our imperial city? Is the Spirit Warrior tier that easily achieved? Lu Yunxiao's tightly clenched fists trembled furiously. Luckily, I did not pick up a fight with them at the palace. Qin Feiyang and Master Nalan are His Majesty's families. Surely they would side with His Majesty. He was supposed to fight against 2 people. Now, the number of enemies had increased to 3 people. There was no chance he could ever win in the fight. Do you see? Lu Yunxiao held out his trembling hands. He pointed at the spirit beasts, which were running around freely. Why have I promised the princess that I'll compensate? Why did I even let the spirit beasts run away freely? That's because I don't know what else to do. If I defy the princess, the Lu family would surely be destroyed. Is it my fault that I'm a coward? I have just done what is best for the Lu family. I thought that I could change the situation for the Lu family. But, I did not know that those people would attain the Spirit Warrior tier right when I came back. If I knew of this situation earlier, I would not be so daring as to enter the palace today. But, Father, Lu Fei's voice shook with fear. The spirit herbs given by that person are stored with the Lu family. If those spirit herbs are stolen, Lu Yunxiao shook his head. No, they won't be able to do that. I've hidden those spirit herbs underground. The box which I used to hide the spirit herbs can cover the presence of the spirit herbs too. Even the spirit beasts will not be able to, old master. An anxious voice broke Lu Yunxiao off as he was talking. Another guard came forward. He kneeled down in front of Lu Yunxiao anxiously. Old master, those spirit beasts have gone wild. What happened? Lu Yunxiao frowned. Lu Yunxiao felt a sense of anxiety and discomfort in his heart without knowing why. Old master. Those spirit beasts ran into Rome Garden and started digging the earth without any reason. I'm afraid that they would do something harmful, so I've come to inform you about the situation. Rome Garden. Digging the earth. Lu Yunxiao's head almost exploded with the news. He stood up with trembling legs. He could not stand straight. There was anxiety in his eyes. Chapter 188. The spirit beasts which were digging the earth for, quick, let's go to Rome Garden. Lu Fei's face turned pale as soon as he saw Lu Yunxiao's reaction. He could not think much but to quickly follow Lu Yunxiao. Rome Garden, which was located in the backyard of Lu Manor, belonged only to Lu Rong. The garden was the place where she would stop by when she returned to her parents' home. Usually, nobody was allowed to step in there. However, Rome Garden was now completely destroyed. Not far around the pits, the beasts led by the snow wolf were taking a rest. Lots of black boxes were stacked near their feet. As soon as Lu Yunxiao entered the garden, the first thing he saw were all the empty black boxes. His heart skipped a beat. He had difficulty breathing as he could not even breathe evenly. His face turned blue. All these spirit herbs were left for Yue through 10 years of pinching and scraping. Now it's all gone. Everything. Lu Yunxiao felt everything go black. If it were not the guard who had held him in time, he would have already fallen headfirst. Ah! Lu Fei growled. It was all for Yue. He did not even get to taste the spirit herbs before. The spirit beasts had eaten them all. Not even one was left. His spirit herbs. Oh whoa! The snow wolf howled discontentedly, looking at those 2 crazy men disdainfully. Wasn't it only some spirit herb? Why were they acting like the snow wolf had raped their daughter-in-law? Were they mad? Growling. The earth bear growled. What happened to all these humans? Are they suffering from some form of rabies? Should the bear find a place to hide? The earth bear was afraid because its master was not around. Father, I'm going to kill all these spirit beasts. Arg! I want to kill them all. Lu Fei was going insane. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at those spirit beasts furiously. Especially when he saw the snow wolf that was getting a massage from the purple sable. Stop! Lu Yunxiao shouted in rage and reached out his hand to stop Lu Fei. Who else is capable of fighting against these spirit beasts here besides me? Go to hell yourself if you want, but don't trouble our Lu family. Lu Fei withdrew his hands angrily as he smiled coldly. He glared at the snow wolf as if he was looking right at a dead wolf. The spirit herbs were my father's life, but they have eaten them. No matter how timid father is, he will never let these spirit beasts go. Even if he needs to challenge the 3 spirit warriors, he will not back off. Lu Yunxiao had already walked toward the snow wolf in front of Lu Fei. Oh whoa! The snow wolf squinted. What? Do you want to fight? Lu Yunxiao stopped as a smile appeared on his old face. Excuse me. Mr. Snow Wolf, did you have enough just now? Or, do you want to stay for dinner too? Lu Fei was stunned before he could stop grinning. He stared at Lu Yunxiao's back in disbelief. Father, you, Lu Yunxiao turned back and stared. Shut up if you don't want to die. Facing those 3 spirit warriors? In your dreams. If he had this gut, he would not have tolerated and backed down that day. Mr. Snow Wolf, Lu Yunxiao forced a smile. Oh whoa! The snow wolf howled in rage as it interrupted Lu Yunxiao's words. Who were you addressing as Mr.? The snow wolf was merely a 2-year-old baby. Growling. The earth bear next to it growled to add in an explanation. Snow wolf, he definitely knows that you have hidden 2 divine spirit fruit up your butt. That's why he has invited you to the dinner so that he can easily poison you and rob you of your divine spirit fruit. This bad old man, he was really bad. Chapter 189, This is a big misunderstanding. The snow wolf squinted. Another person who craves for the divine spirit fruit. Wait, suddenly, the snow wolf looked at the earth bear suspiciously. My little brother, how did you know the place where I hid the divine spirit fruit? Lu Yunxiao watched puzzlingly at the bear and wolf. He felt as if the earth bear was saying something to the snow wolf. Perhaps the earth bear wished to stay for dinner, so the bear was trying to persuade the snow wolf. Lu Yunxiao turned sharply as he thought of that. Mr. Snow Wolf, the earth bear is right. Why don't Mr. Snow Wolf, oh woo? Before the snow wolf could ask the earth bear what it intended to say, the snow wolf heard Lu Yunxiao's words and bristled with rage. The red wolf eyes stared ferociously at Lu Yunxiao's old face. He confessed. This badass old man had confessed. Brother Bear was right. These people were craving for the divine spirit fruit from its butt. Lu Yunxiao was a bit startled. Had he said something wrong? Wasn't the earth bear trying to persuade the snow wolf? Bang! Without giving Lu Yunxiao a second chance to speak, the snow wolf slapped him with its paw. The unexpected slap scratched Lu Yun's feet so quickly that he could not possibly have avoided it. Luckily, Lu Yunxiao was strong enough so this scratch hurt only a little. If it were Lu Fei, that paw could have torn his leg right off. Even so, the snow wolf's deeds had put Lu Yunxiao into a dilemma. But what could he do? Kill the wolf? Feng Ruqing would never let him go. Father. Lu Fei could not believe it. The snow wolf has already gone this far, how could father still tolerate it? When will he be a little braver? Where's the dignity of being a spirit warrior? Oh whoa! The snow wolf got even angrier. Initially, the badass old man who wanted to rob it of its divine spirit fruit. Now, he wanted to evade. The snow wolf must tell its master that this badass old man bullied it. Lu Yongxiu's face was still pale as his lips twitched a few times, then he asked, "So Mr. Snow Wolf, do you want to have your dinner here or, bah?" The snow wolf spat on the floor and huffed coldly. Not even glancing in Lu Yongxiu's direction, the snow wolf walked toward the door elegantly. The old badass had planned to poison the snow wolf. Would the snow wolf be that stupid to stay? Besides, things that should be taken had been taken, what should be eaten had been eaten. It was time for the snow wolf to leave. All the spirit beasts, the earth bear, purple sable, and the other spirit beasts that walked past Lu Yunxiao spat around his feet, and looked at him scornfully. Those looks were implying that he was an idiot. Lu Yunxiao clenched his fists tighter, his head was rolling as countless thunder and lightning blasted inside his head. He could not even think for a second. He was despised by a group of spirit beasts. Lu Yongxiu's chest was beating hard, he clenched his fists so hard that the mark left by his nails could be seen on his palm. The old eyes were filled with rage and unwillingness. He gripped his fists even tighter. "Father." Lu Fei's eyes were filled with disappointment. "You are already a spirit warrior now. Why are you still acting like the old you?" Timidity and overcautiousness. Lu Yunxiao slapped Lu Fei's face with his palm. The expression was just like as if Lu Fei had killed his wife, full of anger. "What do you know? If it wasn't that old Qin Feiyang making a breakthrough to spirit warrior tier, do you really think I would put myself in this position? Yes, I'm timid. But my timidity allows me to survive up until now, and that is why the master has chosen the Lu family." Chapter 190. This is a big misunderstanding too. He could size up the situation. When to stand up and when to stand back, he knew it all. If he paid too much attention to his dignity and face, he would have died so many times. Lu Fei's eyes were filled with disappointment. Father was afraid to beat the snow wolf because he was scared of the princess, so he vented all his grudges on him. Ever since he was a child, whenever father was in an unjust situation, he dared not go against it but would only vent his anger on him. He had become really fed up with days like these. "Father, I don't know what you are afraid of. We have support from the Master One and Sister Shi's. Didn't you hear that I have told you to shut up?" Lu Yunxiao was so angry as he gave Lu Fei another slap again. His face was scrunched up in anger as his eyes were filled with resentment. What do you think the Lu family is to that master? If it wasn't because that place was strictly controlled, which forbids them to meddle with any grievances in the secular world, he would have done it all by himself. Our family is merely one of his pawns. A pawn which he could throw away any time, as he could pick up another new pawn any time. This pawn was able to maintain its place for now only because of the relationship with Lu Rong, and also for his assistance for so many years. Lu Fei smiled coldly. He licked away the fresh blood on his lips, and sneered at Lu Yunxiao. "Father, you're too spineless. If I were you, as a spirit warrior, I want, and I don't need to put up with all these. I would have already killed all these spirit beasts." Lu Yongxiu's face was scrunched up in anger as he pointed at Lu Fei and said, "You." Before Lu Yunxiao could scold Lu Fei, he had already turned away and was walking toward the outer part of the courtyard. Looking at his fading figure, Lu Yunxiao stood beside the pits. His eyes were filled with sadness. "Who am I doing this for? Wasn't it all for the Lu family? What's wrong for being a coward? At least I have done whatever I could so that the Lu family could survive up until this day. However, his son would never understand his efforts, at Supreme Princess Manor. At the pavilion, Feng Ruqing leaned on the stone bench. She looked lazy as the glow of sunset spilled on her red dress. The only trouble was that the stone bench seemed to be a little too tiny to fit her entire butt, as half of her butt was sitting outside the bench. It seems like losing weight is indeed a long journey, Feng Ruqing sighed. She had lost quite some weight then. However, she would need more time to cut down her size to an average one. Oh whoa! Suddenly, a loud howl came from outside. The voice was filled with grief, making it sound like it was crying. Feng Ruqing turned her head. Suddenly, she saw that beautiful snow wolf swiftly rushing toward her and immediately sobbing in her arms. Yes. With Feng Ruqing's size, she could hold the snow wolf in her arms. Feng Ruqing was stunned for a moment. After a moment, she forced some laughter to comfort herself. Maybe the snow wolf is still young, its size is tiny, so I could hug it. Yes, it must be that. Little Wolfie, has someone bullied you? Feng Ruqing asked, frowning as she looked down at the weeping snow wolf. The snow wolf sobbed and nodded. Sob, sob. Not only did that badass old man want to rob it of its divine spirit fruit, but he also did not let it beat him. That was too much for the snow wolf. Feng Ruqing's face darkened as she asked, "Is it Lu Yunxiao, that old fart, who bullied you?" The snow wolf nodded again. Feng Ruqing suddenly rose up. As she was not holding the snow wolf in her arms, the snow wolf fell to the ground before it howled in pain. Chapter 191. This is a big misunderstanding. 3. It was pathetic. This damn old fart, how dare he bully my wolfie? She thought that old fart would not dare to bully the snow wolf anymore. How could he? It was her negligence. When did Lu Yunxiao become so bold? Daring enough to bully her snow wolf. Sob, sob, the snow wolf was weeping. My heart was hurt, but I was not going to tell you, Wolfie, why did he bully you? Feng Ruqing gritted her teeth and asked. The snow wolf whimpered and howled again. It lifted its little butt and pointed at its butt with its paw. That old fart had been looking for the divine spirit fruits hidden inside it. He would never get it. But Feng Ruqing looked below as she noticed the snow wolf's movement. Suddenly, she got so mad as her whole body froze. Lu Yunxiao, how could he rape her wolfie? Her wolfie was only an innocent and clean wolf cub. How could he take its first time away? The snow wolf looked at Feng Ruqing's enraged expression and thought she had comprehended its meaning. So, the snow wolf wept and sobbed again. Its nose was runny. Feng Ruqing felt her heart ache as she looked. It was her fault. It was all her fault. She should not have let Wolfie do the robbing, which had caused her wolfie to lose its virginity. Wolfie, don't worry, I will definitely avenge you. It'll make that person who hurts you lose all of that person's standing and reputation so that that person's life will be worse than death. Feng Ruqing gritted her teeth angrily. The anger burned like a flame inside her chest, which caused the veins on her forehead to bulge. The snow wolf looked at Feng Ruqing puzzlingly and seemed to have some confusion with her reactions. Although, the old man wanted to take its divine spirit fruits, but he had not gotten it, had he? Master said that she would avenge it. What did she mean? However, before the snow wolf could understand what Feng Ruqing was trying to convey, the young girl lowered her head and caressed its head gently. Her tone was gentler than before. The tone was warm as it stirred the wolf's nerves, making it feel extremely exciting. Little Wolfie, sorry to put you in this. You can pick 5 divine spirit fruits later on. Take it as my comfort to you. Her poor little Wolfie suffering such humiliation at such a young age. How could Lu Yunxiao be such a pervert? Was it because he had lost his mate for such a long time so that even a wolf looked pretty to him as well? Then he could not resist himself too. The snow wolf had forgotten all of its grievances and howled in excitement after hearing Feng Ruking's words. This trip was worth it. Not only had the snow wolf eaten so many spirit herbs at Lu Manor, but 5 divine spirit fruits from the master. It was 5 of them. Master was such a stingy person. Usually, she would not have given even an extra one, but now she was giving it 5 of them. The snow wolf was so excited as its little heart was beating so hard. Happy. Watching the snow wolf's innocent expression, Feng Ruqing sighed as her heart ached even more. Perhaps, the snow wolf still could not realize Lu Yunxiao's action meant. So, the snow wolf could recover quickly even with such humiliating experience, without leaving any shadows in its heart. However, regardless of the snow wolf's shadow, she would never let the old fart escape. Feng Ruking's eyes flashed coldly as she looked down. She clenched her fists tightly. Her breathing was heavy. Feng Ruqing had actually thought this way because the snow wolf had never wiped its ass after going for a bowel movement. The smell had hidden the divine spirit fruit's spiritual qi. Also, Feng Ruqing would never have thought that the snow wolf would hide the divine spirit fruits in such an inaccessible place. Therefore, this was a big misunderstanding. Chapter 192, Drinking with the State Preceptor. In the southern bamboo grove. Within the clear pond, a small azure snake was coiled up at the bottom of the pond. The water's surface bubbled with the snake's breathing. It was shrouded in the morning sunlight. At the bottom of the water, the little azure snake moved gently as it slowly opened its virid eyes. What a wonderful sleep! As the snake floated up to the surface, its virid eyes shrank in excitement. Before it was about to yawn, it saw a figure standing below the sun. On that morning, the man was dressed in a snowy white cloth. He was cool like a fairy. He stood with his back facing the snake from the start. The figure was light in shape as it looked like a celestial being from the painting, a celestial being which had amazed all the living creatures. Master! Was Master back? Finally, the snake did not have to live in fear all the time anymore. The azure snake jumped out from the pond excitedly and rushed toward the man. Suddenly, the man in front turned around slowly, raised his hand and grabbed it. Before the snake could land in his arms, he had already caught it in his hand. Master, the princess was abducted by a brat. His name was Qin Chen or something. Feng Ruqing brought him to the palace to see me once. As soon as Nan Xian returned, the azure snake could not wait to complain. Its eyes were filled with grief. How pitiful it was. Nan Xian lowered his eyes. Qin Chen. Inside his mind, he could not help but see the young man who was standing next to Feng Ruqing yesterday. His cold eyes were colder than before. Oh yes, Master, when did you come back? The snake sounded mortified. If you come back a few days later, I might have turned into a snake soup and become the dinner of the princess and that adulterer. Nan Xian gave the snake a confused look. I was back yesterday. But the azure snake had already slept for 1 day and 1 night. Qing Zhu was shocked. Master had returned yesterday, and it didn't even notice. The snake was afraid that Nan Xian would think that it was useless as it could not even notice that he was back. It quickly changed the subject by showing excitement. Master, why don't we drive the adulterer away? I knew he's into something bad when I first saw him. Nan Xian became very thoughtful. You did not stay by her side. If it had stayed by the prince's side, how could it be still alive when Master returned? Qing Zhu's voice was weak. Master, the princess, wanted to cook me and serve me to the emperor as snake soup. I'm scared, oh. Oh. Qing Zhu's eyes popped widely. What did Master mean by, oh? Did it imply that he could understand why the snake was reluctant to stay by the princess, or he had agreed that the princess could cook and eat the snake? Nan Xian lowered his eyes and looked at the little snake that he was holding carefully. His lips were lifted into a vague smile, and his eyes were still as cold as the moonlight. Snake soup, that's a nutritious thing. Besides, it's made from you. She has good taste. Oh. Qing Zhu was shocked and almost fell from Nan Xian's hand. Its body was trembling, its voice was shaking, and tears were rolling in its eyes. Master, you did not act like that before. You have changed, you're not the master whom I know anymore. Apparently, the snake was not its master's flesh nor blood. That was why the master had never loved the snake. To be with that human girl, he was even willing to make it into snake soup, sob sob. The snake wanted to run away from home and never come back again. Chapter 193, Drinking with the State Preceptor. Qing Zhu burst into tears as it fled from Nan Xian's arms, and shot just like an arrow out of the southern bamboo grove. The snake was too fast, so it could not notice the person who was coming in front of it as it pounced forward. Even though it was just a snake, anything that moved at such a pace was like an edged weapon. So, when Qing Zhu saw the young girl who suddenly appeared, it could not stop itself but panically bump into the young girl. Nan Xian's face suddenly changed as he took a step forward. It was a fact that he had elegant steps just like the wind, but even with a small step, a mere step, he had reached right in front of Feng-Ruching. In Feng-Ruching's surprised eyes, a force came from the side as it dragged her into someone's arms. A man's chest could be so warm. She could even hear the sound of the heart beating, bang. Qing Zhu could not break itself in time and hit the old tree in front of it. It cried out in pain and started to see stars. Were you frightened? Nan Xian held Feng-Ruching in his arms. He lowered his head as his cool eyes fell upon the face of the young girl. His voice was as bright as the moon, but it was so soft that people could indulge themselves in it. Qing Zhu had thrown its frail frame along the ground. It lifted its head as it looked at that nasty man and lady. Its eyes were filled with grief and resentment. It was the snake that was injured, it was the snake. But all Master cared about was if the princess was frightened. Nobody even glanced at the snake. Feng-Ruching looked up. At that moment, her eyes met Nan Xian's cold eyes. He was pure, noble, and elegant, just like the banished immortal that lived away from the secular world, as if any profanity would be an insult to him. State Preceptor, I have brought some wine. She took out a wine jar that was hidden behind her, pleasing with herself, and smiled as she leaned on Nan Xian's chest. You weren't here days before, and so you couldn't taste the spirit wine that I had brewed. So, I have decided to visit you today. Nan Xian's thoughtful eyes were drawn down to the wine jar in Feng-Ruching's hands. Sure. Not far away, Qing Zhu shook its head as it had just recovered from dizziness. But it had accidentally heard Nan Xian's words. Its eyes popped open widely. Master, didn't you tell the emperor before that the prince's body could not cope with the alcohol? Nan Xian might have noticed Qing Zhu's astonishment and shot a cold glance back. That glance made Qing Zhu tremble. It swallowed what it had intended to say as it took a few steps back. Okay, he knew nothing. Feng-Ruching had already sat inside the bamboo pavilion, which was located next to the pond. She took out 3 ceramic wine glasses and smilingly turned to the Qing Zhu near her. Xiao Qing, you are welcome to join and taste the wine I have brewed. Qing Zhu's face darkened as it said, Qing Zhu, not Xiao Qing. Feng Ruqing squinted and smiled. Shao Qing and snake soup, you pick one. Qing Zhu trembled and looked at Nan Xian subconsciously. Nan Xian had already flicked his sleeve and sat down. He did not even spare a glance at the snake from the start. Qing Zhu's heart skipped a few beats as its voice was weaker than before. Well, I'll go with Shao Qing then. It was better than snake soup. Actually, snake soup is quite a good name. If you don't like it, I'll call you Shao Qing from now on. Feng Ruqing sighed as she raised the jar and poured the wine into 3 cups. From Shao Qing's expression, it seemed to be obsessed with that strong smell of that wine. This wine seems better than the divine spirit fruit that you have given me before. It's much more delicious. Chapter 194, Gave Birth to a Nest of Little Snakes. After the cups were filled with wine, Shao Qing swooshed to the front of the table. It buried its head in the cup. It gulped and drank all the wine inside. The thick spirit wine flowed into its body as if there was a spiritual force spreading inside. Shao Qing, go aside to absorb the spiritual qi. Nan Xian coldly ordered. Shao Qing lifted its head. Its eyes looked dazed and dismayed but delighted. Too many feelings were mixing around as the snake had failed to notice what phrases had Nan Xian used to call it. Yes, master. Shao Qing finally came to sense, and how it looked at Feng Ruqing was not the same as before. Before Feng Ruqing could speak, Shao Qing had already gone aside obediently. It twisted its body and started to practice, planning to absorb all that spiritual qi that running around. What happened to Shao Qing? Feng Ruqing was confused as she turned to Nan Xian surprisingly. Nan Xian gently sipped his thin lips. His white cloth fluttered in the wind. During that year, when I found Shao Qing, it was in great damage and bad spiritual condition. The wine you brewed was just enough to restore its spiritual condition. Spirit herbs were much more important to the spirit beasts. Shao Qing's spiritual qi scattered because of the damage. It could not be restored to its normal state. Although Feng Ruqing did give him some divine spirit fruit was merely a spirit herb, which did not have much effect on the snake. The divine spirit fruit could not be compared with the spirit wine. Feng Ruqing did not pay attention to Shao Qing after she knew what had happened. She beamed at Nan Xian, the smile was just like the beautiful sunlight, and her face was glowing. It was apparent that the young girl in front of Nan Xian was still a fatty, but her bright smile had made its way into Nan Xian's heart and it felt as if it had clicked with his heart. You got bullied again yesterday. Feng Ruqing remained silent. Countless thoughts flashed through her mind, but an idea caught her attention in the end. So, Feng Ruqing suddenly stood up from the bamboo chair. Her fat body fell straight into Nan Xian's arms. Fortunately, Nan Xian was strong enough to not be knocked down by her. His body was still as stable as Mount Taishan as he sat steadily on the chair. But through careful observation, it could be seen that his body was stiff and tight at that moment. That was not the first time Nan Xian and Feng Ruqing had had intimate contact. The past 2 times, he had taken the initiative to hug her. But those 2 times were because he was trying to help her. Now, Feng Ruqing took the initiative to throw herself into his arms. That feeling was different. Master, they all bullied me. I want comfort. Feng Ruqing pressed her whole figure against Nan Xian's body. Nan Xian's body turned even more rigid. He looked down at the young girl who had already laid her hands on his chest. His cold face darkened more as he pushed away those restless hands and reluctantly said, "Stop." Feng Ruqing smiled as she pulled her hands back, only that her body was still reluctant to leave the State Preceptor's chest. "State Preceptor, I heard that Feng Ruishuang keeps coming to harass you." Feng Ruishuang. Nan Xian's eyes widened in surprise. He frowned heavily as if he was thinking about something. After a while, his wind-like light voice spoke. She has the same surname as you. Is she your sister? Feng Ruqing looked at Nan Xian, dumbfounded. Feng Rishuang, don't you know her? She came and harassed you again and again, and you don't know her. Chapter 195, Give Birth to a Nest of Little Snakes. Nan Xian's voice was light yet cold. Why should I remember an insignificant person? She suddenly remembered the first time she met the state preceptor. The state preceptor could call out to her by her name on sight. So, Feng Ruqing squinted and said, State preceptor, to be honest, did you have a secret crush on me before? How could you call out my name on sight when we first met in the southern bamboo grove? Nan Xian scanned Feng Ruqing from her head to toes, his thin lips then lifted gently. Your size, it's hard to forget. Feng Ruqing's face darkened. Should she be thankful to the previous owner for making the body so fat that the state preceptor seemed to remember her better? After seeing Nan Xian's eyes, she removed herself from his body immediately as she gritted her teeth and said, Feng Ruqing, I'm not a human if I can't make it to 90 pounds. As soon as she finished speaking, Feng Ruqing angrily picked up the wine cup and drank the contents in a shot. She had already known that she was not good with alcohol. She only wanted to take a sip, but unfortunately, the whole cup of wine went straight into her stomach. She stumbled and fell without warning. Nan Xian immediately stood up. He extended his hands and pulled Feng Ruqing into his arms. The red dress fluttered with the light wind, and her hair floated along. Nan Xian held her up by her waist. He turned his chilly eyes at Qing Zhu as if there were some cold rays hidden behind his eyes. You go and find out, who was the one who had bullied her yesterday, in detail. Yes, master. Qing Zhu lifted its eyes and watched the young girl who was in Nan Xian's arms. It asked, shocked, Master, you know well that her body cannot cope with alcohol. Why? Nan Xian smiled lightly. As long as I'm here, it will be fine no matter what happened. If she wants to drink, what's the harm of letting her be happy? Qing Zhu seemed to look more confused. The snake really felt that. Master's attitude toward the princess was really unusual. Was that really because the princess was someone he was looking for? Or there were other reasons. Before Qing Zhu could think further, the young girl in Nan Xian's arms slowly opened her eyes. Her body size aside, this pair of eyes was extremely beautiful. Usually, a fatty's eyes were squished into a line. But her eyes were still big and bright. They seemed like they were glowing and were more dazzling than the moon. Only that now. Feng Ruqing's eyes were filled with enchantment. She jumped out of Nan Xian's arms, and belched too. But Qing Zhu was astounded. The snake always felt that the princess had turned into someone else. Her eyes looked like they were looking at a bowl of snake soup when they looked at the snake. Master, please save me. Looking at the approaching Feng Ruqing, Qing Zhu retreated in shock as its whole snake body trembled. Feng Ruqing belched again. Her steps were unstable, her cheeks were blushed, and her smile was bright. Indeed, I have been single for a long time, and even a snake looks pretty to me now. Little snake, would you come home with me and help me give birth to a nest of little snakes? One Nan Xian, Qing Zhu. At that moment, Qing Zhu was so frightened that its bladder might burst. The present princess was worse than the old princess who wanted to make it into a snake soup. Also, what the heck did she mean by giving birth to a nest of little snakes? The snake was not a female. How could the snake give birth to a nest of little snakes? The snake was a male. A male. Suddenly, a pair of cold eyes emerged and swept in from the side, and shocked Qing Zhu. Its eyes were seized with terror as it turned around slowly and looked at Nan Xian. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.